For me, this is the worst season since I've been at Chiefs, says Arthur Zwane. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Belo, I'm your host. This is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs, Khosi Football Club. And today we're talking about this statement that Zwane made. Uguti, this is the worst season that he's ever had since being at Kaizer Chiefs. Mind you, he has been at Kaizer Chiefs for 23 years, and he said that he doesn't think that any coach has faced what he and Dillon Sheppard has faced this season as Kaizer Chiefs coaches. Question to you is, do you agree with Zwane? Do you think this is the worst season? And let me just address this, because I know some people will say, no, he's lying, or he's making excuses, because they will say that Gavin Hunt, for instance, had the worst season because he couldn't sign players and all that stuff. But I will say this, I will say to argument Zwane would be this, Uguti, Gavin Hunt comes in to Kaizer Chiefs, and as much as he wasn't allowed or couldn't sign players because of the transfer ban, Chiefs already had players who had been playing together for a very long time. So as an experienced coach, he could be able to generate the results that we ended up generating with those players. Even when Zwane took over from Gavin Hunt when he got fired, he still managed to get Chiefs top 8 with that squad that looked thin and couldn't do things. It was only when Stuart Baxter came in and took the team and coached the team at the Champions League finals where he then just changed things up and we ended up losing. High blood pressure is coming because I'm thinking of why I changed the thing. But I'm basically saying, Guti, with that thin squad, Chiefs were still able to go and fight in the Champions League and get to the finals. And the main reason is because the players had been playing together for a long time. Come to Arthur Zwane, he comes to Chiefs, and guess what happens? 10, 11, 12 players get released for a valid reason, yes. Sorry, Guti, I did not say the exact number, but all these players get released, and as Castro said, Leonardo Castro, he said that Zwane did not want some of the players to be released, which basically means some of the things or some of the plans that Zwane had were based on the players that were released, which means Zwane yena coming to and starting the job at Chiefs, he was already in a worse position than Hunt, because at least Hunt had the squad that had been playing together. But with Zwane, my figure, Cardoso, I know Velu Cardoso wasn't playing under Zwane towards the end of last season, but still, there were a lot of other players that ended up leaving in Chiefs, which basically means there were a lot of holes that needed to be closed. And our wonderful team actually did not close those holes. Instead, they signed some players who did not fit or replace or a direct replacement for the players that left. Quick example is the fact that we didn't sign a striker. People will say, but we signed Dupree. But Dupree, we system here to beginning of the season, the way teams were playing against us, he wasn't going to fit that kind of striker that Zwane wanted to utilize, which is like Caleb. It was only later on in the season where teams started to disrespect the Chiefs and play high line and basically say, we are going to press the Chiefs and we're not going to fear Chiefs. And then Zwane changed the system into a way that Dupree plays centrally and then he runs in behind defenders, and then we're able to exploit those spaces. So what I'm saying is that from the get-go, on top of the fact that there were players that were released, they were then not replaced, and then from the start, Vele Zwane was at a disadvantage. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, please do like it and also subscribe. It helps me to reach more people like you. Anyways, moving on to the other thing about Zwane, obviously, Uguti. The new players as well, they are not just Uguti, they are wrong players, blah, 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 blah. There is also just the fact that they have to adapt to playing for Chiefs. And that is why it's so vital, Uguti. Whenever a team adds players to the team, they are not like desperately in need of that player. Because if you have a team of the caliber of Kaizer Chiefs and you are signing players because you are in desperate need of those players, then you are going to have a problem. Because if the player is coming in and you are in desperate need for them, then what that means is basically that the player comes in with so much pressure upon them, Guti, I must deliver, I must deliver. Everyone is looking at me, and if I don't do it, who else is going to do it because I am needed? All of this, and the fans, you make 2 mistakes in one game and then bazokuthuka ku-tweet. So you know this ukuthi now there is this pressure on these players who are coming in to a new environment, to a different system, and they are expected to just perform in a way that you have never seen it before. And then the people will make excuses like, oh, but if you are good enough with Chiefs, blah 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 blah. But players are not the same. Some people come to teams and then they don't perform in the first season, and then they can be better in the second season. I know people will say I'm sounding like a hypocrite right now because blah 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 blah, but because of Caleb, for instance. But if you look at Caleb now, but they come in, we were in desperate need for Caleb because the moment he came, he started playing as in the last half of the game. I think it was against SuperSport or some other team, and then he came in again and then he started scoring a penalty. Okay. But at the time, we're in desperate need for Caleb to solve problems. But he never got a chance to adapt to Chiefs. Yes, Caleb is a different situation that we can address on another day. But the point is, we had players who were coming in to solve problems in the first season, because now you have a pressure which you have to deliver with new players who have not played together at all. You understand? After replacing a lot of players. And also remember, even for the players who were already there for Zwane, those players had to adapt to the change of system. They are used to Makita Spegane kicking the ball all day, every day. And we've seen that it has frustrated us a lot. You see our players, they are rushing the ball way too much. They are being told on the side, come down, build up, yenzanu 1, 2, no 3, but they are not doing it. Make the right movements, about Wenzama movements. And we have seen that in recent games, Otoli, or Dupree, Mdu, they are making those right movements, moving around, and you can see okay, now they're adapting. We're talking about Ukland even in the game, Stellenbosch, he was doing very well when it comes to making movements off the ball and passing the ball and knowing where the teammates are running. So the system is now coming along and you can see what is happening. But the point is, from the start, it wasn't well because of all these things that were happening. And also, maskhuluma nje about some other things that happened. One of the biggest problems that Zwane had, as I said, abadlali were not replaced, is that not having one of the key things in the team, a defensive midfielder, and then finding a way of making Uplom play in that position, and then once he's adapted to playing in that position, then he gets sold to another team. So basically now, Lembobole that you just closed, it then gets open again. Now you have to close that hole again and find solutions all over the team. Not to mention you have people like Abo Cole Alexander getting injured who could have played those positions. You have Abo Biliati that we're starting to trust. Okay, now he's looking a bit better as a false nine because he couldn't play as a winger. They also get injured. You have Otoli being out of form. You just have all of these things coming together, and then you're like, is Zwane right when he's saying that this is the worst season he's experienced? I think he's right. But I want to hear what you think down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, do the right thing and subscribe. I will see you on the next video, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumo.